My boyfriend lost a dare, and the bet was that I had to kiss his brother on the spot. He didn't even ask if I was okay with it. He just laughed and told his brother, "Victor, it's all my fault. I've put you in a tough spot." I looked coldly at my boyfriend of 3 years. I had clearly told him several times that his brother had ulterior motives towards me. "What are you thinking? Victor comes from a wealthy family. He wouldn't be interested in someone like you. Don't flatter yourself. What are you compared to him? Why would he ever look at you?" Clearly, he was willfully blind, not noticing how his brother was staring at me like a hungry wolf all night. I clicked my tongue in front of my boyfriend and boldly sat on Victor's lap, kissing him. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw my boyfriend casually chatting with other friends. After the party ended, I received a message from Victor. That was my first kiss. "You have to take responsibility." I looked coldly at James, my anger boiling inside me. He had the audacity to make me kiss his brother for a stupid dare. What was even more ridiculous was that he didn't even ask for my opinion, treating me like some object to be used. I took a deep breath, trying to suppress my anger and disappointment. Since the start of the party, Victor's gaze had been like that of a wolf, fixed on me, making me feel sick. Yet James remained oblivious, still laughing and joking with others. I gritted my teeth, deciding it was time to teach him a lesson. Without hesitation, I sat on Victor's lap and stared into his eyes. The surrounding cheers seemed to be muted, everything becoming a blur. I closed my eyes and initiated the kiss, pressing my lips to Victor's. The moment our tongues touched, I felt Victor tremble noticeably. 5 minutes felt like a century, and I forced myself to continue the kiss, despite my discomfort. Finally, when the time was up, I pushed Victor away and stood up. I looked around. Everyone was staring at me in shock, while James was still chatting with friends. I let out a cold laugh and turned to leave that suffocating room. I heard someone teasing James behind me as I stepped out the door. "James, aren't you mad that your girlfriend kissed someone else? What's there to be angry about?" "It wasn't real," James replied dismissively. My heart dropped, and I quickened my pace to escape that toxic place. Once home, I locked myself in my room, ignoring James's persistent knocking. My phone buzzed. It was a message from an unknown number. I opened it and instantly felt a chill run down my spine. That was my first kiss. "You have to take responsibility." I decided not to reply to Victor's message and to handle the situation coldly. But days passed, and James still showed no signs of remorse. My heart felt heavy, like a massive stone was pressing down on me, making it hard to breathe. Finally, on the 5th night, James showed up at my door with bubble tea. "I'm sorry, I didn't expect things to turn out this way," he said. He handed me the bubble tea, his tone casual. I reluctantly took it, but my resentment hadn't faded at all. I pulled out my phone and showed James the message from Victor. "I told you before that he had ulterior motives towards me." James frowned and said, "You're not on the same level as him. Stop flattering yourself. He probably just continued the dare after he left. There's no way he'd be interested in you." Those words cut through me like a knife. I felt dizzy, completely let down by James's disrespect. We began to argue fiercely, the sweetness of our relationship fracturing. In the heat of our argument, I suddenly recalled Victor's wolf-like gaze. I stood at the entrance of the amusement park, feeling disappointed and angry. James bailed on me again. It wasn't the first time. I took a deep breath and decided to go in alone and have fun. As soon as I entered, I saw a familiar figure. Victor was standing not far away, waving and smiling at me. "James asked me to hang out with you. Something came up last minute, and he couldn't make it," Victor explained. A wave of bitterness hit me. James couldn't even bother explaining it himself. But looking at Victor's sunny smile, my mood instantly lifted. We rode the roller coaster together. Amidst all the screams, I felt a long-lost sense of joy. Victor thoughtfully bought me cotton candy, and the sugary sweetness filled my mouth. We chatted about work and life, and the atmosphere was surprisingly pleasant. Without realizing it, I found myself glancing at Victor's profile. In the sunlight, his features looked especially handsome. Suddenly, I remembered that kiss from the other day, and my heart started racing. Victor seemed to notice my gaze and turned to smile at me. In that moment, it felt like I was falling into a warm dream. We rode the Ferris wheel together, taking in the beautiful view of the amusement park from above. As the sun set, Victor gently took my hand. I didn't pull away, letting the warmth spread through me. After the Ferris wheel, Victor suggested we explore the haunted house. In the darkness, I instinctively moved closer to him, feeling his body heat. As we walked out of the haunted house, we shared a smile, like we had just gone through an adventure. On the way home, I realized I had completely forgotten about James. Victor walked me to my door, hesitated for a moment, and gently kissed my cheek. I stood there, watching him walk away, a sweet feeling rising in my heart. Suddenly my phone buzzed. It was a message from James. I stared at the screen. James's message left me with mixed emotions. "Sorry, a friend from abroad returned unexpectedly, and I just couldn't get away." I let out a cold laugh. I was so tired of hearing excuses like this. I couldn't shake Victor's kindness from my mind. It was such a sharp contrast to James. I hesitated whether to tell James about today. In the end, I chose to stay silent. Just then, my phone buzzed again. It was a message from Victor. "Did you have fun today? I hope I didn't let you down." Looking at the message, I couldn't help but smile. I quickly replied, "I had a great time. Thank you for hanging out with me." Victor responded almost instantly, "My pleasure. I'd love to hang out with you again." My heart raced suddenly, and a strange feeling spread through my chest. I knew this wasn't right, but I just couldn't stop myself. Over the next few days, Victor frequently reached out to me, sending sweet messages every day. Meanwhile, James seemed to be slowly fading into a distant corner of my memory. I knew I was sliding toward a dangerous edge, but I couldn't help it. Every word Victor said was like a shot of adrenaline, pulling me deeper into this. I started fantasizing about what life would be like if I were with Victor. However, just as I was lost in these sweet thoughts, Victor suddenly sent me a message. It was a picture of James holding another girl, comforting her. I stared at my phone screen, my heart feeling like it was tightly gripped by an invisible hand. In the photo, James was holding an unfamiliar girl's shoulders, gently comforting her. My mind went blank in an instant, and all my trust collapsed in that moment. What's going on?